Welcome all, I'm Matthew Flynn, Health and Wellbeing Physiologist with a specialism in clinical physiology. Today I'm here to talk to you about resilience, a hot topic and a really important one. And what I hope from today that you can get out of it is some quick, easy wins for you, but also a little bit of theory of what resilience means at the moment and how it can help you in your work life, your personal life, and just all encompassing parts of life. So generally with resilience, what you find is it's a positive adaptation or the ability to regain a sense of well-being and emerge stronger, wiser, and more confident after experiencing challenges. The key thing is we can all become resilient, but it does come with practice. So some of the things I'm going to go through with you may work, but there may be other areas that you can find out from friends, family, peers, colleague, whoever it may be, that they incorporate into their daily life that can help them with their resilience. So most of us don't go through life without having to cope with some sort of trauma, deeply felt loss, or personal challenge. And those challenges force us to get in touch with and draw upon our inner strengths. And sometimes we emerge amazed that we're not only able to survive, but to overcome and even grow and learn from these particular experiences. So resilience is what helps us thrive at work, but more importantly, in our personal lives, it's all encompassing. It's especially relevant in how we approach highly stressful circumstances. So the be all and end all of it is a resilient mindset. It helps you to turn unexpected or multiple challenges, conflicts, or potential crisis into opportunities. And this is at the heart of being resilient. It was developed primarily in the 1990s by a couple of psychologists that looked at post-traumatic growth as positive psychological change as a result of the struggle with highly challenging life circumstances. So it's actually an ancient concept that has appeared in philosophical teachings for thousands of years. Some will think of Stoicism, for example. What it looks at is making meaning from suffering. So that's Resilience 101 and what it means. See it as a personal level of self-investment strategies. So just as we prioritize and invest in our financial well-being for a better today and tomorrow, we must continue to prioritize our mental, physical, and emotional well-being so that we can have the opportunity to optimize our energy and performance, whether that be personal and professional. So what I want you to do is to start to ID someone or identify someone in your close network who you appreciate. What do you appreciate about them? Why? Be specific. And the key thing is to consider reaching out while it's fresh from listening to this within the next 24 hours and share what you appreciate about them and why. And the reason for this is real connections and friendships at work matter, also in the personal life. We're just going to concentrate on work for now. According to the Harvard Grant Study, one of the most longest running longitudinal studies of human development, having warm relationships is essential to health, well-being, and happiness. Other research shows that caring for and feeling cared for by others will have some physiological effects on you, such as a lowered blood pressure, an enhancement in your immunity, and overall leading to a better sense of health. And having real health metrics such as blood pressure helps reinforce the notion of resilience. So there's going to be multiple things that you can try in your day-to-day. I'm going to go through some of them, but I want you to look at your deep intrinsic factors, what is important to you. So if we move on now, it's important to look at the consequences of not getting the balance right. And that will relate to stress and stress management, which goes hand in hand in resilience. See resilience as your suit of armor to protect you against stress management going too far one way, where you become unable or incapacitated to deal with something. So it's really important that you recognize your personal signs of being stressed early. The earlier you can recognize them, the easier it will be to respond with whatever technique works for you. Drinking some water, say for myself, that's a technique that works for me personally. If I receive that email I'm not willing to receive or wanted to receive, I know it can take quite a lot of challenges internally to deal with it. I'll go and get some water. I'll take a short walk. I'll remove myself from the situation. And that's a personal resilience strategy that works for me. You can try it. It may not work for you, but at least you've tried something. And as we said at the start, resilience comes with practice. So do give it a go over a longer period of time, say like a week or something like that. But what I want you to think about is your own personal signs. So what are those signs? And can you start to think about what your personal signs are? Again, I'll use myself as an example. I find myself, I get sweaty palms, sweaty brow up here, say when I'm running late for something, whether it's in my control or out of my control. I know that's a physiological symptom of stress for me. I feel stressed. I feel my heart rate raising. So that's generally a fight or flight reaction. That's your raised heart rate, sweaty hands, flushed cheeks. They're an immediate response to the raised adrenaline state. Usually they subside relatively quickly, but if you find you're in this state more often than not, it could indicate more chronic stress that could be affecting you. That's one format of where you can recognize signs of stress. You might not have any physical displays of stress. Say, I can recognize mine quite easy. I've become tuned in with it. However, there are other types of symptoms that can relate to higher stress levels. One is behavioral. So say if you lose your sense of humor, you're snappy with people when you're normally relaxed, you're emotional or teary. Some people lose their appetite, for example. Some go the opposite and eat more. You can also look at some of the habits that come with it, more predisposed to drink more, smoke more, some of the lifestyle habits that lead into your dopamine system that's trying to pick you up. So it's your body trying to pick you up from a state of stress. That's behavioral. The last aspect of stress to look at will be psychological aspects, and they can creep on quite quickly, and they're generally more on a negative tone. So if you find yourself thinking very negatively or have a very narrow perspective on things, again, that could indicate higher levels of stress, and it's important to catch it early. So whether it be physical, behavioral, or psychological, start to identify what your stresses are. I've given you my example, you might be totally different. But start to explore that and you'll get to the bottom of it to help you longer term. There are some things you can do to pick yourself back up again if you notice yourself spiraling into some of these stress responses. What I've already given you an example, which I use, which is to step away. That's where you physically put distance or space between whatever it is overwhelming you. Go out and get some fresh air. It could take you 2 minutes, 5 minutes, especially in a hybrid working setting. If you're working from home and this occurs, it's probably a bit easier than if you're in an office. But what the key thing there is you're putting space between what is stressing you and the potential increase in stress. The example I always give, personal and professional, is the same. You receive something, generally on technology, that you was not expecting, and it catches you off guard. It becomes emotionally driven and you invest in it too much than maybe you should. When you put that physical distance, you end up coming back and reflecting on it a bit more positively. So you get that emotional message from your friend late at night. It requires a lot of investment. If you step away from the situation after you've typed something out, you're probably going to find you delete some of that message and you reevaluate. The same goes for the working environment. If you get an email that you wasn't expecting, it requires a lot of emotional investment and could stress you out, put some distance between it and come back. Now, while you do that, it's important to breathe. My recommendation would be take 5 deep breaths, which will help relax some tension, slow your heart rate, and help you think more clearly. You're probably going through a state of fight or flight, increased heart rate, and adrenaline state. What you're going to do is flip it on its head and bring things back to an equilibrium. Get yourself to a good homeostasis to stay balanced. And lastly, the last advice for this situation is to talk. Do you speak to someone, whether that's a colleague, a friend, a manager? And often you'll find that when you've talked through the issue, it doesn't quite seem as bad as you first thought, because you've had a fresh pair of eyes look at it, and that can lead into lowering those stress levels again. So remember, physical, behavioral, and psychological signs of stress. Work out what yours are. Again, they might be different to mine. In those moments when you know they're occurring, step away, breathe, and talk. That will help you out. So as we go through advice for resilience and stress management, an important one which I give to a lot of clientele is a technique called 3 good things, psychological theory relating to gratitude. And what's found in research is people who practice, who are grateful, tend to be happier, healthier, and more fulfilled in life. And being grateful can help people cope with stress and can even have a beneficial effect on those heart rates. So simply writing down 3 good things that happen in your day, every day over a period of a week, has been shown to reduce symptoms of depression and increased feelings of happiness. The benefits of this technique are immediate and have been shown to last as long as 6 months. So it's quite easy. You can get yourself a notepad like this, write down 3 good things, turn the page like so, and don't come back to it. The next day, again, write 3 good things, turn the page, don't look back to it. Do that every day of the working week, and by the end of the week, you're going to reflect on it a bit more positively. That'll allow you to go into the weekend with less stress, recover properly, and go into Monday to attack it properly. So what gratitude is about taking the time to notice the good things in our lives and to get more from them. Even on a bad day, there's some good things that happen, however small. Research shows that by focusing on the positive, we can reframe our brain to develop a more positive and optimistic outlook. And evidence shows that this simple act can reduce symptoms of depression and boost your resilience, providing good actions for happiness. Try it out for a week and see how you feel. Even if you do feel you're not in a stressful environment at the moment and you feel you're doing okay, you might find you optimize your own health even more just from trying out 3 good things. So an activity that's optional completely today, but something you can do quite easily, is to grab a pad of paper, spend a minute writing down 3 things that you're grateful for, whether it big, small, meaningless, mundane, important, whatever it may be. Examples of this could be your family, your job, you love good coffee like myself, holidays that you've got coming up again like myself. You notice I'm smiling straight away. It's making me feel good. So reflect on why you're grateful for those things that you've written down, and look at that 1-minute gratitude list and reflect on what your life would be without those things. This invokes some strong feelings of gratitude. So really capture that for you. Equally, keeping a journal and reflecting on one positive experience is enough for the body to go through the same positive physiological responses again, where you have more dopamine release, which is going to help your sleep. It's a happy hormone, and it's going to improve your learning abilities as well. So what you're going to find is better adaptability to situations that arise in your life, which require some attention. So positive thinking, such as what I've just described, can set in motion a complex cascade of processes, biological, psychological, social. They all lead to good health. And when we know we feel well, hopeful, and motivated, we can make healthier choices. We're more engaged in society, which in turn contributes to our physical and mental health. So it's important to realize that, to stress that resilience does not mean that you'll never experience negative emotions or adversity in life. That's part and parcel. We're all going to experience it. But what it does do is let you look on the brighter side. And to be resilient is going to help you have the ability to cope and recover whenever those times get particularly difficult. So hopefully that's been of help to you. The 3 good things, noticing your pillars of resilience that work for you. Speak to your friends, families, colleagues, peers, whoever it may be, and try to build out some non-negotiables that will help you take care of your personal well-being. If you enjoy going to the gym and it makes you feel happy, make sure you go to the gym. But do talk to people about it. Have some accountability, and that way you can check in with each other that you're sticking to your non-negotiables. Do start to notice if you're drifting off track. So if you're finding yourself becoming more and more stressed in certain situations, that's the opportunity to remove yourself and create a barrier physically between that situation. You can then breathe. And again, communication, feel free to talk to someone. So find something there that works. A bugbear for me that I think is important for all to bear in mind is, while you're trying to be resilient and grateful to others, know that others are trying to do it to you. So intention is paramount. If you go out for dinner, for example, with a friend, perhaps have no technology at the dinner table. So you can say engaged and grateful and thoughtful to the person opposite you. That's a good way of showing that you have good gratitude for that individual, which will make you feel better in the long term yourself. And lastly, have a positive mindset. All that I've just discussed there is related to positivity, but what it's going to do is going to be short moments where you carve out in the day. Having that positive mindset and thinking through positive thoughts is going to have an overall effect on your well-being, allow you to pick yourself up when those times are low, or be willing to try things like 3 good things. I've been Matthew Flynn. Hopefully that has helped you, and there's some good quick tips that you can take away from there. And I wish you all the best and a resilient future going forward. Thank you very much.